All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:33. It is March 13th. I hope everyone's feeling well. It is Thursday. It is PPI day. We had the CPI yesterday and it was light, and they tried to rally the market and it just felt like there was a lot of indices sellers. Stocks for 2 days in a row were stronger, or at least the leading stocks got really beat up, were better than the actual spies in the indices because it just feels still like they're de-risking. Feels like, the markets I thought would be in like some kind of pro-growth environment, all of a sudden with the PE in the S&P for 22, 23-ish, had a program sell down considering all the cuts that are going on around the world between Doge cutting government agencies, between government less spending, between tariffs making things more expensive, bringing demand down. All of a sudden, pro-growth to a growth scare slash maybe recession talk. So what does that mean? It means you got to come 10% off the high, so this way you could de-risk, or bring the PE of the S&P 500 to a spot that's more of a historic average, which was still above. But anyway, hopefully everyone's feeling well. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3 Live. I'm the founder of Red Dog Mindset. We're trying to figure out how to make money every day, how to stay safe, how to stay sane, because at this point a lot of people are getting a little frustrated, and it's very easy to dance around that fine line. There's a fine line between losing a little and losing a lot, or making a little and making a lot, or having a day and giving it back. It seems like the last hour, when it seems as if we might actually have a push into the close of these sell programs that just put us right back into the range. So it is what it is. What could you do? We'll see what happens with the PPI. At this point, the S&P futures were down like 30 last night, and now the SPYs are up 40 cents. So right back smack in the range. If you look here, these are your levels. You have 555, 552, 563. What are we going to do here? We're going to have another inside day. We could. At some point, if the PPI was light and if they could get a government deal to keep it open, maybe we get above 563 to see the moving averages. But I think at this point, most people think whatever rally we have, it's going to be a rally to be sold, which makes sense. For instead of almost 10% move off the highs, it could be 13 or 14 or 15. Considering we still have a lot of tariffs to go through, we still have a lot more things, a lot more of a detox before, I think we start getting, the kitchen sink of the economy thrown out and the swamp drained and all those things that everyone keeps talking about. But either way, there's been money to be made and things to do. You use our methodologies. I've been doing this for 25 plus years, and showing you how to get tactical with your active day trading account once you break an upper level or break the moving averages and below the 8-day moving average all the way down. We use oscillators, we use RSI, we use the MACD, we do so many things to navigate. And at this point, it's like a non-interesting spot. If we were lower, which we might be lower come PPI, it would have been interesting to maybe buy versus 555, buy versus 552, stay in this range. But right here at 559, they could do whatever they want. You could see 563, which they might want to short, or if we get through it, there's a void here, or they might want to hit them where, we buy them, and if 552 doesn't hold, here are your three levels below to write down. You have 547, which is right here. You have 542, and you have 538. Those are your spots. So I always kind of frame it out. You frame out every day. You're not like running through the woods ready to get smacked in the face by a tree. If you frame out your path with multiple different trails, where to make the left, where to make the right, based on whether the big bad wolf's coming at you. The red dog will protect you. But anyway, so that's the spies. You can do the same thing for a lot of things. The Qs try to be a little stronger, but still you have this lower pocket pivot. And everyone's like, red dog, isn't this just a bear flag? It could be. Could be a bear flag. You take this out, and then all of a sudden, you start, putting in, lower levels of support, and you got to figure that out. That's what we've done for a while. Or, we've seen like lower areas that go to the upside. This was a bear flag too, kind of before it ignited to the upside and then had a pocket pivot. So question is, are we building another like descending type of trend line here, which it's very descending, and will this break to the upside to give us some kind of retracement back up, towards the moving averages, and then, where are those levels? So I like to map them out. Again, I map them out. I'm prepared. I try and prepare everyone this in the mornings also. Now we've been doing this 20 at 520. If you read a lot of these pro growth sites in these areas, they say every morning you want to drink a, nice big glass of water. You want to not look at your phone for 20 minutes. You want to do a morning workout that makes you feel good to think about the day. I've developed this 25-20 workout where, we do a full body workout. I think about positions. I think about levels. I think about multiple plans. I think about, yes, it was a CPI. Today's the PPI. Tomorrow, will they get the budget out, or will the government be halted? Or, next week we have the Fed. Next week we have Nvidia. There's a lot of things going on, and then there's a lot of levels. And the only way you're going to really execute with confidence is if you think about what you have to do when you have to do it. So I would say if you, join or subscribe to Red Dog Mindset, between the Red Dog Mindset 20 at 520, getting the morning right into the 630 club, you're way ahead of the game, my dogs. And even more importantly, if you subscribe to the Alpha Team, which trades all day long, there are 500 individuals that know exactly what they're doing, how to do it, and they've been making money and making a living for years. And Redler All Access is my note that has a one-pager of everything. So there's lots of different ways to get yourself ready for the day, but the only way you're going to get ready for the day is if you take accountability and figure out which way you want to do it. And anyway, if you find value in the 630 club, you should definitely subscribe above, because at some point this summer, it might be 5 times. Anyway, with that being said, so here we are. So like I said before, some stocks have been stronger. Okay, like first of all, everyone's like, finally, Red Dog, we caught a really, really good trade in Tesla. Listen, if you've been with me for 10 years, you've heard the term red dog reversal, and you know what that means. That's a way to catch a counter trend move without trying to catch a falling knife. We don't just buy all the way down. That's how you got a business. The way you do it is when you're oversold enough, the RSI is low enough, you have a pivot, and it breaks below it, comes back above it. You could define it and you go with it. So right here with Tesla, that was that spot, right? Finally, from 488, 439, 367, we broke 325 to, it went below 220, made a low of 218.03. Remember that day? I think it was Monday. Maybe it was Tuesday. I don't remember exactly what it was, but guys, it broke 220. Everyone's like, it's going to 200. And guess what? It reclaimed 220. You could have bought it there. You could have risked $2 of risk by buying the 220 pivot, and then all of a sudden yesterday hit 251. So you could have made $30 on $2 risk. That is a great trade. I don't care what happened from here down. This was your setup. And if you were thinking clearly, I talked about it in the 20 at 520 also. I'm like, guys, 220 is the spot. Does it break it and reclaim it? Does it break it, stay below, and continue? And a lot of people made their entire quarter just on that trade. So anyway, I made some cash flow, not my quarter, but I don't swing for the fences that way. So for now, Tesla is, it's up 20 cents. Seems like it could go a little bit more. It seems like it could work its way to the 8-day. This point, it was a little lower before. You have 241, you have 237. So I think that could be a little bit more of a move. A little bit. I don't expect, a blistering $50 rally that some people are calling, but it's something to focus on. And guess what? At the same time, Nvidia did a red dog reversal. What do I mean? Well, Nvidia went below 105.46, went to 104.77. Some people who are trading this, made a lot of money using the same red dog reversal strategy. Sometimes when you're tactical, you have red dog reversal strategies for cash flow to the buy side, calculated, you have H-cell setups. Then all of a sudden you bounce, you roll over, you short a bounce, breaks the prior low, and then you can make money if you're a good short. But anyway, so this reclaimed 105.46 with a low of 104, then all of a sudden gapped up and, gave you a nice trade. So Nvidia also, that's been sold since numbers, okay, gave you a nice 2-day trade. Nice 2-day trades are what people are making money on. You're not making money on multi-week trades right now. We don't know what's happening in weeks from now. All we know is we've been in an active sequence to the downside, and you're looking for spots to short into strength and buy into weakness and trade and not give it away. Let's see what my dogs are saying around the world right now. What's getting old? So at least Twitter's working today and YouTube. M. Senny says it's getting old. These government shutdowns are getting old by now. I get it. These politicians should be fired. He didn't say that. I said that. But anyway, it's true. I still don't understand how some of these politicians are worth $100 million and they get paid like six figures a year. Something's going on there. They're allowed to trade on anything they hear, and you know, it's just the double standard is ridiculous. What up? Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Mike. Mike. Let's see what we got. Jim. Morning's got the Q's 30-minute chart. Looks like a bear flag. It does. Some fantastic short-term sniper active. Bobby 4.0, by the way, is awesome. He thinks clearly. He works on himself every day. He's done Redler Ultimate Access. He's a good friend. I think he's there also at 20 at 520. You've been doing the 20 at 520, Bobby? I know Nugsy has. Nugsy every day says it gets the mind right, gets ready. Like right now, I'm feeling like $1,000,000. I've already, did my workout. I've already thought about my plans. I've been in my ice barrel all before even showing up here at 6:30. Get up earlier, get prepared, win the morning, win the day. Good morning, Lance. We got Jim from the UK. All right. We got Nebraska in the house. We got Jose from, I think he's from Colombia. Anyway, so with that being said, Austin's in the house. Space Special says the 20 at 520 is great. Listen, I do everything in one. In 20 minutes, I cover a lot of bases, and did it in a way that's consumable. So anyway, so what else? So Nvidia is looking pretty good. As long as it holds 112, maybe it continues higher. This is your next spot. Some people are like, hey, when can we short Nvidia? It's in a downtrend. I'm like, well, let's see. If they want the market to bounce, they need some candidates. Not saying they do, but Nvidia is doing a little bit better. As long as it holds 112, maybe it could work towards 120-ish. It's got to get above 116. It's right now. It's already here. Anyway, and again, I showed you the SPYs. The SPYs are. It seems like it's a bear flag, but I kind of think that we could see 569-ish. So I'm in some options thinking that could happen. So we'll see how that goes. By the way, Dash is acting very well. It's down a little bit today, but I don't think it's real. Let's see what's Dash doing. Yeah, Dash made a lot of money when it was added to the S&P 500. Yesterday we were buying a dip. This is acting very well. Keep it on the radar. Most things are at the 200-day trying to reclaim it. This held the 100-day, already moving up. There's a whole void here. So I think Dash needs to be, up on the top of your go-to list. I've been saying this since here on August 5th. So at this point, I think you got a lot of year left. So if you could put Dash up on your go-to list, I do think it'll be, better for you. Anyhow, so that's Dash. Palantir had a nice little move. I made some money there. I had options on, and I traded it. I think somebody said it was downgraded today. What's Palantir doing this morning? PLTR is down 80 cents. So anyway, maybe there's a play here. You could buy versus 80. It rebuilds to continue. It's come in from 125. This was to sell. This was a red dog sell. And now it seems like it's trying to find some support here to go to the upside. So maybe this downgrade, is an opportunity if we could burn it off. APP just had a little bounce, nothing great, but a little something. But again, some people are like, hey, Red Dog, what's a clue? Like, what gives you a clue to be long something versus short something versus out of something? Well, Monday, you had this low. On Tuesday, it poked its head above Monday's high. Not a lot of stocks did that. So it showed a little relative strength. So if you were looking to play a broken bounce in Apple oven, you could have got long on Tuesday, and yesterday you got paid well. Okay, I know my guys that I coached made a lot of money there. Now it's at 275. What's the high here? This is 292. Maybe it goes a little sideways, gets above this to see 306. So there's something there, but it's not that compelling, I guess. Adobe, not good. Yeah, it's not good. I haven't played an earnings play in a while because this season I got a little beat up in earnings. So I'll tell you, I did like 6 or 7 earnings plays, and I wound up actively trading really well, and then the earnings plays were not great. So I would give away. I'd make 5,000-10,000 trading, and then I'd lose 5,000-10,000 in earnings play flipping the coin. So people are like, right, let's play Adobe. I'm like, you could play Adobe. Meanwhile, it's down 20 points, which Not good is right. There is a slowdown out there. Um, Thanks for Art Moore says thanks for doing this every morning. Well, I do the 6:30 Club every morning. I've been doing it since, since 2020. So if you've been finding value, whether it's the Blood in the Street account that's 17 for 17. By the way, I have a third of my account in the Blood in the Street account. Somebody asked me if I could do the S&P levels, so I'm going to give you the S&P levels right now, and the weekly. Okay, so these are the S&P levels. So far, people were 9.8% off the highs, which is really just a de-risk. Okay, everyone kind of thought we were going to, have a growth agenda with the new administration. Well, it turned into a de-risk, a slowdown, because they're trying to cut trillions of fat out of the government, because we can't be, we can't have 38 trillion in debt rising, right? So when you cut out a few trillion, it's real money, real jobs, and things slow down. Besides, the tariffs or whatever that is. So we're 9.8% off the highs. So into this area, I've put a third of my Blood in the Street account. Now, my Blood in the Street account is the account I can put money into. 401k, just do every month. Don't be so cute. Blood in the Street, I do a third, and I've mapped out just in case, this continues to the downside, over the next month or two, which it might. First, we might get a bounce. Maybe that'd be nice to get a bounce, because I'd like to play the bounce and then maybe get short into the bounce. But overall, here are the levels below. Okay, I think the average pullback over the last 30 years has been about 13 to 14%. So if we just have the average pullback of the last 30 years, that would be about 52.64, which would be my next spot to get about half of the Blood of the Street accounts work. If you guys remember that, if you guys have been watching the Blood in the Street, the 630 Club, we've maneuvered this really well. I did a lot of Blood in the Street buys, a lot of swing trade buys, a lot of everything. During the pandemic was fantastic. That was awesome. Everybody was running for the hills, and we were buying during this. Remember, and then all these patterns were all that was life back then. So these patterns repeat themselves. These patterns play out. That's why we sit in our chair, and that's why we don't quit, because markets and patterns repeat themselves, but the market's always here. So are you going to be with the market, or is it going to flush you out because you can't handle the volatility and you're chasing things, you're not honoring stops, but whatever. So anyway, this again is the weekly chart. So write these levels down, because sometimes when you get to these levels, it's hard to execute because it's scary. Scary. On TV, they're talking about markets in turmoil. They bring in the 10 of the 10 idiots. No, I'm kidding. 10 market participants to tell you what that you should be doing, and they're probably not doing it, because none of them really trade for a living or do whatever. But anyway, here's your spot. So this is 9.8. So the question to me is, are we going to get a move to 566 first, or 573 first? So these are the three bounce levels if the market wants to bounce first. But if we're that weak and we can't muster up a bounce, then this could happen first. We're not that oversold anymore. We were minus 60 on Monday or Tuesday. Now we're minus 23 because we burned some of that off. Jim says, I'm guilty of the same earnings in a day trades and getting wrecked in earnings plays. I get it. So let's change. Your 401k is wrecked. All right, let's ask Mobile Trader how old he is. Hold on a second. I want to ask you a question, because that's such a stupid statement. I hate to say. Okay, so Mobile Trader says, my 401k is wrecked. How old are you, Mobile Trader? If you're 40 years old, do you really care? Hopefully you have a job and you're going to be putting money into your 401k every single month for another 20 years. It doesn't matter. You're not living off your 401k, okay, unless you're living above your means. And we're only down 10%. So how wrecked could it be? We were up 24% last year, 20%. You're 46. You have nothing to worry about, Mobile Trader. Just keep putting your money in every single month and don't look at it. If you trade for a living, that's different. If you're caught in an IRA in a stock like a Tesla that got cut in half, like some people trade their IRA like a swing trading account, they have no idea what they're doing. That's not us. When I talk about a 401k, I'm telling you, you should be putting money in every single month just into some S&P funds or into some kind of asset allocation plan where you have equities, bonds, and gold and crypto. Blood in the Street does the same thing. If you trade for a living, you better use your moving average rules. You better use your tier system. You better honor your stops. You better know what's going on. You better get prepared. That's a whole different story. Anyway, like even my wife, she got her statement and she, oh my God, we're down 6%. I'm like, Selena, come on, Just keep putting money in your 403b. You're 51. Does it matter? We weren't using it. And it doesn't matter for a 529 right now either. If your kid's 6, 7 years old, you want to correct the phase. So this way, you could cost average in for when your child is going to be needing the money, hopefully down the road, instead of you asking for a bailout like some people. But anyway, I like to add to my IRA when the Red Dog adds to his. Yeah. Usually it also is a great trade, but we haven't had that kind of trade. Usually when I'm putting my tier into the blood in the street account, the oscillator's minus 70. We've been down huge. Each time we try and burn off this oversold condition, it makes it harder for a real bounce. But anyway, Manny is asking me about Meta. Let's do Meta, and let's do a few more names before I got to go to hang out with the Alpha team and do my charts. Yeah, I made some decent money in Meta. Meta right now is where's Meta? It's down to, I think, it could be rebuild over 609. So I'm a buyer of Meta. I think Meta, obviously broke its ascending channel, went through a corrective phase like everything else. It's starting to rebuild here. Gave you a low, a higher low. So maybe today you could buy Meta, verse 609 for some cash flow. This is part of my go-to list. I think Meta and Amazon are acting better than the other old mega cap techs. So these two are on my radar. Tesla, I still think, has a little bit more of a bounce in it. Apple has been a disaster for some of you, but I told you guys on Monday, I gave you guys the ad. A lot of people made money short too. Where was that? That was right here. 233. When that news came out about the AI phone, I'm like, guys, this breaks 233. If you thought there was relative strength, you run for the hills. You don't even ask questions. You get out of the way. And a lot of people did and got short. And now here we are into range support. Listen, if you're an investor in Apple for the last decade, stay the course. Don't worry about it. If you trade for a living, or you have a swing account, or you have an IRA where you've been trying to make money there, and then you better be careful. You better think like a trader, be disciplined like a trader, be prepared like a trader. Anyway, now we'll see, does this provide some kind of bounce? So that was your spot, and you had time there before this 3-day move. Some people are like, oh, how did it happen? It's Apple. Well, it's below the moving averages. It broke a key level, just like any other name. And every name is subject to the same kind of price movement based on technicals. But anyway, the second tier ad for the blood in the street account is usually, that's the one I do for following. Okay. So everyone uses my levels and my experience to match up with their game plan. You're not going to make a living by doing everything that I do, but if my thoughts align with yours, it gives you conviction. If some people are like, hey, if Red Dog is getting out of all stocks, I'm getting short. So I might not be getting short, but if I get out of 7 positions because I'm actively long, that means the market's about to probably get hit and people get short off it. So the bottom line is you need to pay attention and need to know what you're doing, how you're doing, and why you're doing it. And I'm here to be a bit of a backbone, a sounding board. And I've been here doing this for 25 years, so hopefully it's helped. And if it has helped, guess what? Subscribe above to Red Dog Mindset. You get a little bit of every picture, because at some point, a lot of it's going behind there. And you don't want to be missing the Red Dog. So with that said, it is what it is. Today's another day. You have the PPI coming out at 8:30. Yesterday was pretty disappointing to me. The SPYs were like at 567 pre-market. I had all these options. I thought I was going to make a ton of money yesterday. Instead, I had to get rid of my options in the first 3 minutes. Thank goodness. I made a little bit of money, but not a lot. And then they beat the market down for about an hour. And then it gave you a Bible pivot because it held above 552. And then it was just another range trade, a day in the life. I gave back probably a third of my day in the last hour, which I've done a bunch of times, which irks me. But one of these times it feels like they're going to catch them by surprise. And I figure from down here, maybe we can get up, move. We haven't had it yet. So we'll see. At this point, the SPYs are, flattish, right smack in no man's land. What do you do in no man's land? You try not to do too much, because if you buy here, they could bring it down before you get points of reference. If you short here, they can make you feel like you're wrong before they bring it in. So write down, do not trade in no man's land. Write down, is this trade worth it? Write down, hey, am I up good money for the day, working my butt off? Am I going to give it back in the last 20 minutes trying to make it one extra trade? Then you lose, and you lose half your day, and you feel like a jerk. Don't feel like a jerk. Anyway, it is Thursday. We'll see how it goes. We got 2 days left of this week. Hopefully you're holding up. And if you're in a hole, big deal. Okay, it's only March 13th. Get small, get green, feel good, work your way out of it. And if you're making really good money, congratulations. You're probably sticking to your plan. You're probably prepared, and I'm proud of you. And if you're, just staying the course, I'm also proud of you, because there's a lot of quitters out there. You can learn from failing. You can learn from hard times. And if you outwork your doubt, that's how you build self-confidence. If you stick to the promises you make to yourself, that's how you build self-esteem, and that's how you build your everyday resume, so you can have the confidence to execute with 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 power and strength, versus sitting there scared in a little shell, paralyzed. That's not the way to get through life. Anyway, glass half full is much better. I got to go do my 40 charts. I appreciate you.